Good.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Let's do it. Somebody can fire away if they want to.
Nick, obviously, just thoughts on adding guys like Paul, Caleb, Andre, pretty much a new roster compared to last year.
Yeah. I think that as excited as we are about some of the things, obviously Paul George headlining the thing, I think that a lot of the other moves were super critical. Like there were things that we think we needed to get done. Example like Drummond backing up Joel. I think everybody understands that we need a good veteran guy that's a starter, really, because if we need him to play some games, the 40 minutes, 38 minutes or whatever it is, we got a guy that can do it and provide incredible presence around the basket. And then, I think we touched a lot of the things that we needed to touch. We got a little veteran experience. We got a little shooting added. Certainly got some dynamic wings in Caleb and Kelly back in there too. We got Ricky back in the fold who just keeps getting better and better. So I think that a lot of those, the PG thing was huge, but I think all those things matter.
I think you said, mentioned on, I think it was Colin Coward's podcast, that you wanted, a guy who can improve in the playoffs, play on both ends. A guy like Caleb, what does that kind of stand out to? Does that fit what you were looking for there?
Yeah, I mean, you also hear me talk a lot about versatility, right? I think we got some guys that are versatile, can kind of play a number of positions, guard a number of positions, and it just enhance our team being versatile in general. But I mean, listen, I love Caleb. I think his competitive spirit and how hard he plays and his athleticism are kind of what got him here and where he is right now, and I'm excited to see what it's like up close.
Nick, schematically and tactically, I guess, what are the conversations and I guess the vision that you have for how this trio of talent fits together and how Paul fits into the mix here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helped a lot by the 1-3-5 thing, right? They're completely, Joel and Tyrese are their bookends, and Paul slots right in the middle of that for sure. I think that my mindset right now, most of my ideas are going in pencil, right? I got some thoughts and things, but I really do think that we'll experiment and try a bunch of different things. I think that what we go into training camp running schematically, both sides of the ball will take some twists and turns and evolve to where it gets to by the end of late end of the year. So I just kind of want to see how it looks and unfolds without trying to make it too narrow of a box that it would think that it's going to be. I just think that, listen, I want guys to read and make the right plays.
I guess going off of those thoughts in pencil and whatnot.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris had an up and down season last year for you. I guess how does your calculus change just by substituting a player like Tobias in or out for a guy like Paul?
Well, I got to get onto the floor and see it, right? But obviously a little bit different positionally. Paul can a little more kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, even if he has to be. He handles. He brings it up the floor, runs almost like almost a point guard position at times. He can almost be a secondary point guard or obviously a primary ball handler at times. So that's a little different. Again, I think I just need to see it play out and get him on the floor and see what it looks like. And I think, I don't know, you guys watching the game, Joel throws a backdoor pass yesterday in that game. And again, is that because he wants to be more of a facilitator? Yes, a little bit, but he's also just making the right play, right? He's getting double teamed and somebody cuts and he hits him for a layup. I mean, that's what Tyrese is going to have to do. That's what Paul's going to have to do. That's what Joel's going to have to do.
What have your initial conversations with Paul just been like in these first couple weeks since you guys signed him? Just getting to know him, I guess, even as a person.
Yeah, it's been really, really enjoyable. I think one of probably a dozen guys I've never really come across, right, in coaching him or workouts in the summer or whatever. But so it was kind of fresh start, and super impressed by him. He's a good guy, very intelligent, knows the game, thoughtful about what he wants out of his team and what he can deliver and who he wants to be and all that stuff. I was super impressed with everything so far.
Yeah. With that being said, I guess how important is this upcoming training camp, just with all the new pieces and just everything. Obviously, training camp's always important,
Yeah.
but it feels like this one is probably one of the more important ones you've ever had to go through.
Yeah, I mean, I really put a lot of stock in training camp, right? I think that we've normally come out of training camps fast, right? We usually are good, that's really the crux of your practice time, and I would expect this to be no different. I mean, we are going to be prepared to get every ounce of time used wisely to get our guys ready to go, and when we can get out of the blocks when game one hits.
Nick, you mentioned the the Team USA
Yeah.
experience for
Yeah.
Joel. I guess, what have you seen so far from him that you would like to see translate to your group? Maybe things that he either didn't show or didn't have a chance to show as much last year.
Yeah, I think. Listen, I'm a pro international team guy, right? As you guys know, the experience for him is I think going to be great. Just being around great players and great staff, and the competition is the biggest thing. Is those guys that pull on those jerseys for those countries, man, they play with everything they got and tremendous amount of passion, and the competitiveness of that is always good for anybody. And I also think it's good for him to play as far as coming off the injury, getting himself out there in practice and back into shape and all those kind of things. And listen, I think he wants to win, and I think he wants to make the right play, and that always translates to the Sixers.
You've got you've got a 34-year-old in Paul George, and you have Embiid who's had his injury issues at times. Do you think there are things you can do as a coach organizationally, kind of from a big picture perspective, to manage the regular season and kind of optimize the chances that these guys get to the playoffs healthy?
Well, I think that's certainly got to be part of the plan. I would say that you can probably throw a couple of other guys in there too, but Lowry, Gordon, there's some guys, even well, whatever, that's enough. But yeah, I think it will take some managing of those guys as they get older. Most of that, though, you guys, comes through what you're doing day to day, training camp, practices, travel, all those kind of things. I think we will, us and medical and front office will work really closely on doing what you said. I think everybody's probably on that same page that we want to try to get to the first round of the playoffs with energy and health.
Do you think that could open up some periodic minutes, for some of your younger guys like Ricky and Jared?
Absolutely, it will open up opportunities for those guys. They're important too. Like, if I skipped at some of the other important steps, I think the youth, enthusiasm, and energy of some of those guys is we're going to need that too.
You were talking about
guess
health.
Last question.
Last season, that greatly affected your guys' standing,
Yep.
arguably, with all the games that you guys missed. How much did what happened last year affect your thinking for this upcoming season?
I think it's gotta affect. I think every year you gotta evaluate what just happened, right? Debrief it, and then figure out, is there anything we could have done differently, or are we going to do differently going forward? So certainly was a big impact, as you mentioned, and we've got to adjust and think about that for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks everybody. Good to see you.